our brothers and sisters in Gaza in the context of the theatrics that are taking place in the British Parliament amongst political parties and the incapacity of people to put forward the moral case for saving children's lives above the attempts to gain political power. It is sickening and heart-wrenching at the same time in equal measure. And the situation in Gaza is indicative of a lack of power, a lack of volition amongst Muslim actors generally in the global Muslim world, but also in the West we feel this more than anything else. And I've been discussing the issue of Khilafah with lots of people, the issue of lack of power authority, and it always comes back to this issue of Khilafah, and everybody I speak to is unable in some way to provide me with an answer on what Khilafah is, what it looks like, and what the purpose of it is in the context of the age we live in, and how that would change anything. And the reason for that, I think, is because the analysis starts on the wrong foot. It starts from a complete misunderstanding of the reason for Muslim decline, starting from the 17th century, which is where most people would track Muslim decline. And the misstep at that point leads to a number of conclusions which lead to an idea of the Khilafah, a need for Khilafah, a need for change, which I think is unsustainable and unjustified. Now, my presentation of the Khilafah will be a unified presentation. It will take in theology, because it's a theological concept. The idea of human beings representing God on earth is a theological concept. It's a legal concept and a fiqh concept because it indicates the obligation of Muslims to live in a state of obedience to God under God's law, the Sharia. It is a geopolitical issue because of it looks at the interaction between Muslim states and other actors on the world stage, and the need for power, technology, military might, and so on and so forth in that context is undeniable. But it's also a historical issue because we have to map the periods within Muslim history where we did have Khilafah and what that looked like and what benefit it gave to the Muslim Ummah. I'll just remind you, Salahuddin Ayyubi conquered Jerusalem while the Caliph al-Mustadi bi amrillah, literally means the one that was enlightened by the command of God, was not enlightened. He was sitting in Baghdad, probably unaware of what was happening. And the will to power, as Nietzsche would say, of Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah was to take on the task himself, not as a Khalifa, not as the representative of Muslims on earth, but as a concerned commander who also had, I would believe, a deep faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he conquered. And we're in a very similar situation now where the flux of having no Khilafah, no political authority, no unified leadership means that we have lots of people talking about what we need to do. But I think the preamble to that and the preamble to Renaissance and a revival of Islam is to understand our history, our theology, our law, and the current geopolitical context. And the Khilafah idea is the perfect vehicle to do that. So I'll be providing these insights on the course that starts on the 2nd of March. We'll go through 4 sessions from then, covering all those topics and more, and I'll be informing you of those over the next week or so. And the idea is to give you not just an insight into Khilafah, but also an idea into how to look at any complex question. This is almost like giving you transferable skills that work beyond the topic, because it's about how to approach a question, to move from definitions to conceptualizations to then rulings, which is the whole process of fiqh. The whole process is to conceptualize something, analyze it, and give a ruling. So inshallah, I invite you to that course I'll be doing. The enrollments are open, inshallah.